They'll be calling you a radical. This is incredible important. F-35 loot job. So, Abi's dying. He steps down. It's such a giant fucking story. This is as big as it fucking gets. He's dying. You don't think it's from Fukushima? Say, stay with me. So I'm in that room right there. I grew up right here. This was a sacred, hallowed bond. I grew up right here. So I was in that room right there. This was 2011. I've got the entire field going crazy. Fukushima going crazy. I get a stomach ache. Come up here. I see a doctor in the emergency room. I'm in so much pain. For me to call an ambulance, the ambulance driver gets here at my house out West Weaver, and I'm puking up bowel movement by now. It's that bad. He thinks my appendix is fucking ruptured. Get up here. I says, I'll drive. Fucking, they followed me. Flashers on. I get up here, and I see a doctor in here in the emergency room. They scan me. The girl who scans me, Natalie, who I grew up with in West Weaver, who recently just passed away, young. I don't know what happened. She scanned me. I know she scanned me. She was a great radiologist. She ended up being one of my nurses at LDS. I go in there, and this fucking piece of shit doctor tells me, well, you got an elevated white count, but there's nothing in your scans. I've reviewed your scans. He obviously never looked at the scan. Sent me home. He says, I think maybe some food poisoning for some cantaloupe. That's the hysteria going on. So, this went on, and I just got worse and worse and worse. Fucking worse. Finally, I come back. I went to Huntsman, the luxury good of death. They tried to sue me for $3,000 when I'm dying in the bone marrow transplant at LDS for a phone conversation, the luxury good of death. So I come back. The other doctor says, no, there's nothing wrong with you, blah, blah, blah. It's a Friday, and I've learned why all cancer is diagnosed on Fridays, me and my shadow. So I turn around, and I drive I get part of the way. I says, I'm not going through emergency rooms on a weekend. I turn around, and I went in there and threw a fit. I was uninsured, but I had a lot of money then. I had 30,000 shares of Tesla stock at the time. Play back the tape. I had plenty of money. Finally, it was a woman doctor. She scans me again. Gone a long time. I was watching the Steve Jobs interview with Isaacson, which is irony because one of his doctors ended up being one of mine. She comes back, she's got tears in her eyes. She says, I'm so sorry. And I says, what? She says, this is on 10/13/2011. You're plumb full of cancer. There's tumors all over in your lower right mesentery. I've got the oncologist on call. I says, who is he? And, she rattled some name I never heard of. He's coming over. He says it's bad. So we're admitting you right now. So I get admitted to that room right there. As I'm going up the stairs, I go into the freaking thing, and he's right there. I says, well, you're the oncologist. Yeah. He's looking at the screen right there. As I'm getting ready to go to the room, and I'm by myself. He's like, I says, well, tell me. It's not good. Looks like I see some of it in your liver. Oh, no. I says, well, come on, don't lie to me. What do you think? You're an oncologist. What do you think? Just knee-jerk. I'm not going to hold you accountable for any of it. I think you'll be dead within 2 months. Next doctor comes in. He'd reviewed. He's supposedly, oh, my wife died of stage 5. She used to cry every night, but then she accepted it. What a dick. You'll be dead in 6 weeks. My daughter finally shows up. I says, no, I don't feel like I'm going to die. She says, me neither. It was the worst night of my life. Oh, bar none. So then I finally get in. They biopsied it. A guy named Vacara says, I'm going to open you up, tear your whole guts out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fuck you. You're not doing that to me. Finally, Vincent Hansen, who's known me since I was a kid, finally, I got in to see Vincent. God, Kevin, I'm so glad you didn't have that. Now, this is important because Abi is dying. Now, why I'm in ICU and open heart surgery, I'm jumping forward. These guys were calling me from here, suing me, threatening me why I'm in their very ICU unit right there with open heart surgery, which they caused. I was born with a heart murmur. I never had a heart attack. I was born they nuked my father to death in the Nevada test site. Then me, I was born all fucked up. That's what they do. So, what a fucking story. So, Vincent, a San Diego girl, fucking bone marrow biopsies me. I'm going crazy. I found a fucking YouTube video online back in the early days of YouTube. This pathologist in New York, Cedars-Sinai, for his students. He says the lower right mesentery in men, because they biopsied it, and this supposedly world-class pathologist. So I go in to see this Vakara. He's going to gut it. He says, let me look at the pathology report. Meantime, while I was in there, the first night, there's your F-35 lip job. Fucking disgusting. So this doctor named Dr. Taus in the middle of the night, like at the weirdest hours ever, scoped me. She says, Kevin, who told you that you were going to be dead? This cancer was in your liver. She says, you a drinker? I says, I drink beer, but nothing heavy, you know, whatever. She says, looks like a normal spot to me. My blood pressure, me. She scopes me. So anyway, I go in to see Vakara. Let me back up. I'm in the room. My little newborn grandson's in there. They're telling me I'm going to die. I'm going to die. So I ask, can my daughter and the grandson, and this woman nurse in there, oh, yeah. I'll bring in a cot, Kevin. You know, very nice to me. This Japanese doctor comes in the morning. He was all pissed. What are they doing in the room? You could hear him just fucking yelling. He looks at me. There's nothing fucking wrong with it. I mean, he said fuck right to my face. I says, oh, yeah? You're going to talk to me like that, motherfucker? What the fuck are you talking to me? You're uninsured. What? I have money, whatever. There's nothing wrong with you. Go home. Send me home. Collapse on the floor. Fucking, I don't know how I didn't die. These fuckers caused it all. McQuackty, I saw the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, then they saved my life, Dr. Connors. I mean, it's an irony story. Vincent. So I finally get in. They pull up, this Vakara pulls up the fucking scan. And he looks at it, and I'm praying. You know, on the pathologist, they went in, got pieces of it, which they never should have done. Oh, it's benign. I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'm jumping up, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. She took a snip out of your stomach. You had a hole in your stomach. And she told me that all this was caused because I had an ulcer. And she loaded me up on the 3-way ulcer drug. The quacks that they are. I'm like, oh, fuck. And then he scrolls down. No, wait a minute. It's just glaring red. Oh, God. I saw it. He says anything over 0.4. It was over 0.04. It was 4.44. Javoto, 40. Oh, my God. Just glaring. He's like, oh, no. Your only hope, I'm going to gut you. Get ready. We'll do this in 2 days. I'm going to cut you here. I'm going to take it all out, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wait a minute. Thomas Blanch, my uncle, who started the Ogden Clinic, Vincent Hansen's partner, told me when I was young on my heart, Kevin, don't ever let them open you unless you're going to die. I says, fuck you. You're not opening me like that. So his office is right next to Vincent's. Vincent wasn't which ISC then. So I got in to see Vincent the next day. Meanwhile, I got on the internet and I found a fucking video to Cedars-Sinai to this pathologist, and he said that he felt in the lower right mesentery tumors that these pathologists get it wrong more than they get it right. It's so hard to fucking diagnose. And my light went on. I started researching. I says, it's de novo. It's fucking a mutation. It's a moving. Fuck, leukemia could present in fucking tumors, and it's almost a death sentence because of that. So I ran this by Vincent. I get in. They bone marrow biopsy, and he says, Kevin, go home. I'm going to call you. He says, I'm so glad you didn't have that surgery. It would have killed you. He said this before the... I find out later that he argued with the pathologist for a long time. He saved my fucking life. He known me since I was a kid. So I'm waiting for the results, It says 2 days. The next day they call. It's the secretary. She says, go to the bone marrow transplant at LDS tomorrow. The next day was 11. I'm a big thing about 11's. I'm like, oh, God, no, I broke down. You know, and my daughters who flew in from New York is here, you know, they're here. Donovan Mitchell's neighbor, when he was a kid, says, call him back. So I call back. She says, well, Vincent's in, he'll call you back. You know, because they says, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm going to die. My dad died of it. Annika died of it. I broke down. I'm going to die. It's my worst fears. Come home. I call him. I'll never forget this conversation. I'm so emotional. So is he. He says, oh, Kevin, no. You're going to LD. I says, that's a shithole. That it's under construction right now. He says, I know. I says, it's been under construction my whole life. Vince, it's a dive. No. You don't know, Kevin. There's a guy like you, Danish philosophy medicine from Copenhagen named Fimbo Peterson that's taken over the whole unit. He's running. It's the best in the world. You go in there. And he says, you fight. He says, you have a nasty, nasty cancer in you. He says, it's horrible. I wouldn't send somebody in your condition at your age, but I've known you since as a kid. You're the toughest fighter I've ever known. You go in there and you fight, and you prove them wrong. I have great hope for you that you will be cured. I had a dream before I got cancer, and I know Danish philosophy, the most utopic dream I'd ever had. I went in there, Vincent Hansen on 11/11. I told him about my dream. He says, you hang on. I went in and out of a fucking coma over and over in there. While I'm in there, these guys are calling me, threatening to sue me. The University just called me, threatening to sue me. Then, as you know, my miracle, I come out. Look up Marshall Jensen. He's in the fucking room next to me. I come out. I'm dying. I'm standing right here to the square inch. It's not working. It's not working. I had 3 rounds of heavy chemo. I'm ready for the bone marrow transplant. Me and Marshall are making the decision on the same day. It's not working. Go home. My mom's in here, dying of cancer. So I'm up here. I'm standing right here waiting for the call. Because let's bone marrow biopsy, you know, they dig in your hip. Wait for the results. It looks like I'm going to die. It's over. I'm waiting. I'm calling the hospital. I said, what's the results? Well, Dr. Mitchell wants to talk to you. He's a gem, by the way. Oh, no. Fuck, they're going to prep me for death. I know that's how it works. Worst day of my life, second worst day. She calls. You could hear her choking up in her voice. No, Kevin. We saw a little flicker of hope in that bone marrow biopsy. No. There's a guy named Brian Morris who went through the same thing. We thought he was going to die, saying he's alive. You know, we want to come see you, and that's when we made the choice to walk. I've done it with food. I've done it fighting back with this YouTube camera. It started Black Lives Matter. What a fucking story. So then my aortic valve fails, my fucking heart goes. As you know, fucking guy at fucking Ogden Regional Medical, because I wouldn't come back here because I was uninsured again, told me, no, one of the oncologist nurses was the nurse in there. No, Kevin's a fucking leukemia survivor. I was a nurse in there. Michael Hawkins, who has a 2-year degree from Western Montana as a chiropractor, represented himself as a doctor at emergency room. No, I ran the test, Kevin, on your heart. There's nothing wrong with your heart. Go see your fucking dentist. I collapsed in the yard on Easter Sunday. I was born on Easter Sunday. So I get up here. The doctor that at the emergency room is a kid that I used to teach. He says, Dr. Blanch, you know, I was an adjunct professor. He says, you're the best professor I ever had. I says, it's my heart. I just had a stroke. I'm dying. He got me in. He got you in. Dr. Collado and Dr. Connors, who fucking Ogden High, who I used to know when he was a kid, fucking saved my life. Open heart surgery. Why I'm in the ICU with the open heart surgery? They're calling me, threatening me, trying to collect why I'm in ICU. Good, bad, ugly. So now Abi's dying. Or Kadaiki's alive. It's an incredible fucking story. It's unbelievable. As you know, this is my walk. I go on this walk every day. Because why? This is my sacred, hallowed place. When I was having my PET scan right here, you know PET scans, they take all those hours, they make you drink the glucose and then attach to you, and you got to get dark and get calm. Go to your happy place, Kevin. I'm in my happy place. This is Glassman Pond, this sacred, hallowed place I grew up on. Skinny dipping with 2 girls right here. Even I read after the 4th, 5th, after we quit having PET scans, the doctor who read the PET scan, who talk about an art, he said, in the report, you know, in their Latin words, but I can read enough Latin, my Uncle Argyle, even he said, I don't believe it, it's a miracle. They used an experimental chemo on me, oh, it's a miracle. I was sent home to die. That's a John Hopkins fucking survival bracelet, 1%. I'm in the 1% studies. Think about it. I start Occupy, all the work I fucking do, the dead tide pool, fucking everything. I'm fucking talking karma, blah, 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 blah. You know, the 44 of us in that fucking unit in there in 2011, the fall of 2011. The Fukushima plumed right here. I was right up there fucking working. Right up there in Randy Richards' fucking house. My ex-attorney who sold me down the river. They all sold me down the river. Everybody has. Fighting cancer's a motherfucker. Vincent never did. Vincent Hansen and Fimbo Peterson never did. They kicked me out of the unit because I ran out. Mike Lee kicked me off fucking Medicaid. I exhausted over $1 million of my own. Then I went over and then they cut me off in the bone marrow transplant center because I ran out of fucking Mike Lee kicked me off Medicaid while I was under fucking treatment. Unbelievable. The only person who never quit me, you know, Dr. Connors, who did he says, I held your heart in my hand for 6 hours, Kevin Blanch. Your heart's a beast. He says, you held on. That walking the coast and doing all that work probably saved your life. You held on just long enough to get your I walked around doing platelet fucking or counts in California, sleeping on benches, sleeping on the beach with platelet counts of 38. You're out of your mind. Vincent says no, go. Fimbo says no, go. Danish philosophy, guys. Something rotten in the New Denmark. A bee's dying. Akadaiki lives. I live. Out of the 44 of us in there, Carla, fucking everybody, I'm the only one left alive because only the good die young. You know, I fight for them, the people that these fucking nuclear monsters murder. They're calling me. Fucking attack, viciously they're collecting goons while I'm in their ICU unit. They still attack me viciously. I was here before they were. On this sacred, I've been walking on this sacred hallowed ground since 1960. Me and the angel. She watch out over me.